Hello again, my friends. Welcome back for another VR headset review. Today it's with the Vive Cosmos Elite. Now, this is really different from the first Cosmos. The first one that came out used inside-out tracking, similar to the Rift S. The Vive Cosmos Elite is a return to lighthouse tracking. So you set up external sensors, just like with the original Vive, Vive Pro, and the Valve Index. Now, the original Cosmos I have not tried at all, so I can't do any comparison between that Cosmos and this. This Elite package I'll be comparing to other headsets like the Valve Index, but this is the only Cosmos I've tried. And for full disclosure, in exchange for this review, HTC sent me this kit for free. So that was the arrangement I had. If there's ever any kind of a special deal with hardware, I always let you know. So that's the deal with that. Let's get to the unboxing. Opening up the box, the first thing you see labeled with a big number 1 is a big blue piece of paper that tells you where to download the setup software, gives you a temporary code for Viveport Infinity, and also a small little quality of assurance inside an envelope. Moving that aside, we then see the sections that are labeled 2, 3, 4, 5. Box number 2 is the external tracking lighthouses. Underneath that, you'll find the power supplies and mounting brackets so you can attach them to your walls. Box number 3 is the adapter that actually plugs in the headset into the PC along with the power supply and a cleaning cloth. Box number 4 is the headset itself, along with some miscellaneous documentation in the back there. Finally, box 5 is the controllers. Underneath those, you'll find the power cords to charge them up. Once you get the headset all by itself, it's really straightforward unwrapping it. Just untape some bubble wrap, some plastic, and some peel-away plastic around the lenses as well. Really straightforward. After getting everything outside the box, I recommend the very first thing you do is download and install the software, because after the drivers are installed, it'll actually present to you on screen a really nice step-by-step animation sequence for getting set up with all the cords and hardware and such. So I thought that was pretty cool. Instead of having to follow the paper manual, following these really simple animations is a really great way to get up and running. The way the Vive Cosmos plugs into the PC itself is through a DisplayPort connection, but at the end of the headset is a proprietary plug, just like with the Vive Pro, that plugs into the adapter, and it's the adapter that then goes DisplayPort to the PC, USB to the PC, and the power as well. And speaking of the Vive software, there's a companion app that has to be running all the time whenever you're playing Steam VR, which is a departure from the original Vive and Vive Pro. With those older Vives, all you needed was Steam VR and you didn't need any Vive software at all. But with the Cosmos now, there's a companion app that has to run in the background. Now that will fire up itself automatically. There isn't a separate launch function or option, but just so you know, with the Cosmos you will absolutely need the Vive software, whereas previous Vives it wasn't required. And speaking of previous Vives, there's a lot of similarities, but some differences as well from the original Vive. The original Vive didn't actually come with any headphones at all, but the deluxe audio strap for the Vive has become sort of the standard for that, and the Oculus Quest, in fact. And the headphones and audio are very similar to the deluxe audio strap. In fact, they sounded better than the Vive Pro to me. We returned to a lot of nice bass getting through, and the headphones themselves feel just like the deluxe audio strap. The way they pivot and adjust are just like it. And so I'm really pleased with the audio, and that was a nice return to feeling like the original deluxe audio strap. And speaking of Vive comparisons, we go from an OLED display to an LCD display, which means you lose a little bit of contrast and intensity in the blacks. But the resolution here is way high. It actually boasts a little higher resolution than the Valve Index, but it looked identical to me, just like the Index display. So it looks nice and crisp and clear. Again, you do lose a little bit of contrast, but the clarity is great. It looks super nice. But one big gotcha is that the field of view is just like the original Vive, and there's no way to move the lenses closer to your eyes in this display. And that's a key thing I want you to know, is that even though I'm saying this looks just like the Index, the field of view is just like the original Vive, and you get so much more field of view with the Index. please keep that in mind. The display is the same, but you're getting much less field of view with the Cosmos Elite. And in fact, there's no eye relief at all. With the original Vive, you could bring the lenses closer or farther away. This is locked in because of the flip-up display. And that's a good segue into the flip-up display itself. That's definitely the most novel and unique feature about this. The overall head strap is a halo design, and so after you make it fit comfortably on your forehead, you can then flip up and flip down the display. And at first I found that rather novel. That's definitely a first for me, but it didn't really serve me any purpose, frankly. It is cool at first to just pop it off and look around and pop it back on, but I didn't find that to be real advantageous for me. Just didn't really suit my needs. I don't see why I need to have that. On the one hand, I could see one particular instance where that would be useful, is that perhaps if you're a developer, and if you're constantly going back and forth between headset and PC screen, headset, PC screen, perhaps the flip-up display would be useful for you because you can very quickly get to the computer, do some coding, and go back. That's one possible benefit, but for me, just being a player, I didn't find the flip-up to be that useful, personally. One more important note with the flip-up display is that at first I felt like I was having trouble getting a good seal on the bottom, getting a little more light leak, and it didn't feel like I was getting quite the seal I wanted. That took a while to get used to. I had to really adjust the halo strap so it was just right, and then after I found just the right spot, then I got a better seal on the bottom. That was definitely a learning curve for me, and it might be for you as well. There was one surprise wearing glasses with the Cosmos, and that is because with every other headset, I've had to wear smaller frames than these to fit inside any VR headset. But now with the Cosmos, I can actually fit my wider frames, which is a first for me. So that was actually quite a pleasant surprise. So if you wear larger frames like I do, and usually you struggle to make them fit inside the headset, it just might fit inside the Cosmos now, and that was, yeah, that was a real surprise. Keeping in mind though, that when flipping it down, I did have to lift it up just a touch before flipping down on the glasses. Flipping down without doing that, I would sort of hit the corners and the foam wouldn't quite sit. But if I lifted up just like a ½ inch when tilting down, then it would fit over the glasses fine. So one more minor nitpick to know if you're looking for the flip-up display with glasses. Now let's talk overall comfort. And I'll be comparing comfort to the Valve Index because for me, the Valve Index is out of the box the most comfortable headset I've ever worn. The Halo strap I was really curious about because I've never tried a Halo strap before. I've never experienced Windows mixed reality or any kind of strap like this. At first I found it pretty comfortable, but after a while I found I had to take a break. I found I was feeling just a little bit more pressure on my forehead than I'm used to after about an hour or two of playing. It's not uncomfortable like, say, the Oculus Quest without mods. It's fairly comfortable, but after a couple of hours, I have to take a break because of the forehead pressure. Whereas, say with the Valve Index, I could play for hours and hours all day long and feel fine. It is decently comfortable, but I did have to take more frequent breaks because of a little bit of pressure on the forehead. And also know that the default foam is just like the default foam you would get with the original Vive or Vive Pro. As such, like I've talked about before many times, I find this default foam to be irritating on my skin, and so that's another reason why I had to take more frequent breaks than usual. I couldn't find any replacement for this foam as of yet either. I couldn't find anything from VR Cover or elsewhere online, so for now it seems like if you're like me and this default foam irritates your skin, you'll have to either take more frequent breaks or roll your own alternative. It is just Velcro, so you could possibly assemble your own foam solution there, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. And now circling back to comparisons with the original Vive, the controllers and lighthouses that come in this kit are the same as the original Vive. I want to praise the lighthouses, but then complain about the controllers. And in fact, the setup for this was really straightforward and easy for us because we're still using the 1.0 lighthouses that came with the original Vive that I bought way back in 2016. And so those 1.0 lighthouses are still going strong. They track the original Vive, Vive Pro, Cosmos Elite, and the Valve Index. And so I'm a huge fan of lighthouse tracking. You just need to look out for direct sunlight hitting the device or bouncing around the room. And reflective surfaces will mess up the tracking. But outside of those two issues, I'm a huge fan of lighthouse tracking, so I'm pleased to see that's the solution for the Cosmos Elite. But the controllers are the exact same as the original Vive. These Vive ones get the job done, but ever since having the Valve Index controllers, that type of strap design is the new standard for me. The Valve Index controllers are just spectacular in comfort. I can play so much longer without getting cramps with this grip button. I really wish there was innovation here with the controllers. And in fact, to speak a bit about controllers overall in the VR ecosystem, I really want to see more competition that is similar to the Valve Index controller design. The Valve Index controllers stand alone right now, and I really wish we had more like them. Pimax promised sword controllers. I don't know where those are at. There are accessories you can get for the Rift S and Quest that are more similar to the Index controllers, especially the AMVR grip accessories for those. I've reviewed those in the past. I love those. I really want to see more controllers like the Valve Index, and I feel like this was a missed opportunity here to see some kind of a controller design that was innovative and more comfortable and just something new, you know? Sadly, these are the same controllers you'll get with the original Vive that are 4+ years old, and so that's probably my biggest disappointment with this kit. I would have loved to see controller innovation, but sadly, not the case. And before I forget, one more comparison with the Valve Index is that this headset is 90 Hz only. The Valve Index is the only headset that can push higher frame rates higher than 90, although you need really beefy hardware to do that. My PC, I'll link to my PC specs down below, but my PC couldn't push past 90 frames per second with the Index, so I couldn't even get a good comparison there. But just so you know, this is 90 Hz only. So for my final summarizing thoughts, I'm going to compare to the Valve Index one more time. Because the Cosmos Elite package is $900 for the full kit, the Valve Index is $1,000 for the full kit. And if you're in the market for that expensive a headset, the $900 to $1,000, you get a lot more for your money for those $100. Especially the controllers, the increased field of view, a little more comfort. But I really want to highlight the controllers because those make such a massive difference, and so you get a lot for your money for that $100 bump. I don't want to downplay the strengths of this kit too much. I mean, the display is crystal clear, the audio is fabulous, the lighthouse tracking is spectacular tracking. It's solid VR, and if this was your first VR experience, it would be a good one. Because I remember the original Vive being my first VR experience, and that blew me away, and it made me fall in love with VR to this very day. If this becomes your first VR experience, it'll be a solid experience, even better than my first was. But that $100 bump to the Index gets you the ultimate experience. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Vive Cosmos Elite. Thank you so much for watching. If you got any questions, do ask down below in the comments. I'll do my best to answer all the questions that show up, and we'll catch you later. All right? See ya. Bye. Well, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. See ya.